In 1963, Arizona resident Ernesto Miranda was arrested in Arizona for allegedly kidnapping and sexually assaulting an 18-year-old woman. After being taken to the local police station, he was questioned by officers for 2 hours, where they managed to get a signed written confession from him. The issue was that Miranda had little knowledge on how he could have effectively navigated the situation and what type of representation he could get. He was nearly coerced into the whole thing. The other problem was that this confession was the only evidence used against him in court, and the primary piece that led to his conviction. Miranda appealed his convictions through the Arizona courts, arguing that his Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination had been violated because he had never been informed of the right before the interrogation. The case eventually reached the Supreme Court, where Miranda argued his confession should not have been admitted as evidence because it was obtained without informing him of his constitutional rights. The state of Arizona, represented by Assistant Attorney General Gary K. Nelson, argued that Miranda's confession was voluntary and should be admissible because he was never threatened or forced to confess. They also argued that the Constitution did not require police to inform suspects of their rights to remain silent or their right to an attorney before questioning. Miranda, represented by John J. Flynn, continued to argue that his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination had been violated. He maintained that because police failed to inform him of his constitutional rights before questioning, his confession should not have been admitted as evidence in court. In a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Miranda. Chief Justice Earl Warren held that statements made during a custodial police interrogation cannot be used against the defendant unless officers first inform the suspect of certain constitutional rights. The decision established what we now know as the Miranda rights, where law enforcement officers are required to read suspects their constitutional rights before interrogation during custody. Although Miranda was granted a new trial, he was later convicted again using evidence other than his original confession. Miranda V. Arizona became one of the most influential Supreme Court decisions in American history. The case strengthened protections against self-incrimination and helped ensure that people understand their rights before being questioned by police. More than half a century later, the phrase, "you have the right to remain silent," continues to be one of the most recognizable legal protections in the United States.